Hello and welcome back to the Frozen Card Gaming YouTube page. It's Mateusz here, and this weekend the LCS3 found place. And today I have a special guest with me, Hashim Mustafa from Oman, which got top 16 with Adamancipator.
What's up?
So first of all, congratulations on the top.
Thank you.
So why did you decide to play Adamancipator for this event?
Well, so at the start of when the Adamancipator set dropped, that's the only deck I've been extensively playing, and the last LCS, which went horribly bad for me, I played the deck, and then after the Eternity Code support came out, I was playing a very similar list that fixed a lot of the issues I had to the one that I am using for this LCS. And a week before the event, Synchro Eldritch became extremely popular, and in my opinion, that deck is and Rock wins every single, as long as you don't see as long as you don't see a floodgate if you're the Eldritch player. So I just decided to play Rock and hopefully face a lot of Synchro Eldritch because I thought it was going to be the most popular deck, and it worked out.
So what were your different matchups and how did your rounds go?
I played against 4 or 5 Eldritch in Swiss. Let me just check to make sure. I played against 4 Eldritch in Swiss, 4 Rock Mirrors in Swiss, and 1 Orchest on the bubble. I 2-0'd every single Eldritch.
No.
I won half my Rock Mirrors and I lost the other half. And on the bubble, I beat Orchest 2-0. And then top 32, I beat Ryan Levine, but 2-1. He was playing Eldritch. And then in top 16, I lost to Guru.
Oh, unfortunate. Um,
Very.
so regarding your list, why did you decide to main deck Veiler and Imperm as your hand traps over like Nibiru in the main deck?
Alright, so based on the theory that Synchro Eldritch was going to be the most popular deck, I didn't want to play a lot of hand traps, more than 6, because I want to be going first, and I want to not open a lot because the deck is really resilient, but the more hand traps you see, the less you can play around other hand traps, and since all Eldritch decks play 12 to 15 in the main deck, it's kind of risky if you go above 6 hand traps. And one hand trap, if you see one hand trap against Eldritch, that's already enough. No one is playing Caught by the Grave or anything. So Imperm was the best choice, obviously, because it beats Kakimiro Guardian in the mirror match, and it beats Auroradon in the Eldritch matchup. And then for the next hand trap, we were considering Nibiru, but we realized when we were testing that Unexpected Die is basically the second best card in the deck. And if you see Nibiru plus Unexpected Die, you can't activate Die. So we just decided to play Valor instead. And although that conflicts with petting, we just side petting out after game 1 as a nod to that.
No. So why did you decide to not play Weeping Doll?
Weeping Idol. So Weeping Idol is a card that only comes up when you need it when you make Raptite with Metal Marchup. And if you get to that point, you can just alternatively make Union Carry Attach Block Dragon and just go from there. And otherwise, if you open it, it's not really that good. It can be a brick. I feel its best application is the fact that it is a rock monster that you can hit off your tuners, but we were already playing 9 of those, and basically our chances of hitting with our rocks was roughly around 80%, and it would keep increasing every time our deck kept thinning. So we just figured that we didn't need the Weeping Idol. It really never came up. There was no game where I was oh, if I had Idol, I would have won. The card just wasn't good enough for me to play. I'd rather play Tackle Crusader.
Yeah. So for the side deck, why did you decide to side Lancia?
So this was in retrospect in fear of Dinosaur and Orcust, because these decks were gaining popularity going into the event, and then we just realized that they're also generically good against the Rock Mirror, because in the Rock Mirror, one hand trap is never enough. So I understand that Lancia on its own will do nothing, but even any other hand trap probably will do nothing if your opponent opened average. But Lancia plus any other hand trap is actually not bad. And And you have to just assume that you see 2 hand traps. If you see less than 2 hand traps, you definitely just lose that game because there is no way they just don't combo you. So we decided to side in Lancia, and it worked out because like I played against Orcust in round 9, and like he lost because I Lancia'd him in game 2. And in the Rock Mirrors, I didn't actually get to see it, but in testing, it seemed like a really good option just because like you can stop them, and then when they need to have Block Dragon to keep it going, you just Lancia them at that point, and it's usually just pass turn, which means you can win.
Yeah. So what did you side Called by the Grave over like Exchange, which we have seen some players play for this event?
So we originally were playing 3-pointer instead of Caught by the Grave. The idea was that we were basically like fearing Dark Ruler, but people started cutting Dark Ruler because like it's not that good against Eldritch, and people just shifted towards hand traps. So we decided that we would rather play Caught by the Grave instead. And the reason we picked Caught by the Grave and Midbreaker Field as our 3 hand trap negates going first instead of Exchange is because in some hands, resolving Exchange can be really risky. Like if they take the right card out of your hand, depending on how your hand is, you might just not be able to win the game. And like if they've opened a lot of hand traps and you have no way of getting Block Dragon to Grave, and you open it, you have to activate Exchange, and they take the Block Dragon, and then you can't extend if they have multiple hand traps. So like you have to rely on them not having enough hand traps, which is just like very risky. So I would rather play Caught by the Grave and just hold the Guardian for Nibiru or Uka or whatever Caught by the Grave can't hit, and then just use Caught by the Grave on any other hand trap. And like it was fine to play it instead of a pointer, so just simply because like if they somehow stop you without using a hand trap that loses to Caught by the Grave and you open Caught by the Grave, you can just set it, and if they're playing like Eldritch, you can just like flip it and negate Jet Synchron if they start with that. And we weren't that worried about Dark Ruler because we just summoned the Dweller and we just put like Tackle Crusader under the Dweller. So even if they Dark Ruler us, we can just use the cost of Dweller and book the monster that they summon first in the mirror match. And like a very reasonable amount of the time, that's more than enough to just win. So we decided that Caught by was the best option.
Yeah. So why didn't you also either side or main deck the Destruction Sword for the extra deck lock?
Oh, it was actually a last minute change. We played the Buster Sword at 1 Tackle Crusader instead of 2 Tackle Crusader, and the reason we ended up cutting it was because it just didn't feel necessary because you always had full board. And we played Dweller as an alternative if like we were worried about Dark Ruler. And Buster Sword is also like just a bricky card, and you would rather have Tackle Crusader in the long run because the difference between 9 and 8 rocks is like 5% when it comes to hitting or whiffing with your tuners, which is like really significant in 9 rounds of Swiss. And opening Doki Buster is probably just like you scoop and you go to the next game, which we never wanted, but opening Doki Tackle Crusader is actually like really good. So we decided just not to play that card, and it worked out because I never got Dark Ruler during the entire tournament.
Also, why did you decide to side Ashes over like Moonlit for essentially more Veilers and Imperms?
Okay, so the reason, so Ash originally was actually Twin Twister. Because we were thinking that, okay, we have like 12 hand traps going into combo and Eldritch, which should be enough. Let's play Twin Twister because we need like coverage against back row because we were expecting some like rogue decks to catch us off guard during the early rounds of Swiss. But I decided like I told my friends who were building the deck with me that like we shouldn't do this because we're not gonna play as many back row decks as we are gonna play rocks. So I'd rather like lose a game against a back row deck than lose multiple games against rock simply because I don't have 14 hand traps after siding. And the chances of seeing 2 out of 14 hand traps after game 1 in the mirror match is around 58%, which is more than half of the time, and that's the kind of number I'm comfortable with. And we just decided that Ash Blossom was the best alternative because you can also side in Ash Blossom against back row decks because they hit like Extravagance, and it's just generally a good card. And it also comes up as a tuner sometimes. You can summon it off Metal Marcher, and then use Ash and the second Linkross token to make Herald, and that way you can use the All-Lion token and march it to summon Raptide, which came up one time in this tournament, and it was like the reason I won that game, which is like, thankfully, if that card was some other hand trap like Gamma, for example, it would have done nothing.
No. But yeah, thank you. Do you have any final words?
I would just like to first of all thank Frozen Card Gaming for hosting me and allowing me to do this deck profile, and I'm really glad that the luxury team has been able to host these tournaments for us. I guess I would also like to shout out my friends Luke and Adam, who built this deck with me, and almost everyone else that was like keeping up with my record and just supporting me throughout the tournament, notably Cormac, Charlie, Orion. Who else? I know I'm going to forget someone. If I forget you, please don't kill me. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Yes, Jacob. He made me use his account. Thank you, Jacob.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video, and comment down below what you think about his deck list. See you guys next time.